Most weekends look a lot like other weekends. 2 really short days to catch up on house chores, go grocery shopping, and then get back to work for 5 more days. But summertime in Alaska is a little bit different. And this was just another one of those not-so-average Alaskan weekends.
Cessna 62 Delta Flight to 2, runway 32 clear for takeoff. Clear for takeoff, 62 Delta Flight to 2.
Our route on day 1 took us from Seldovia on up to Anchorage for an essential technical stop there, picking up some avgas, Moose's Tooth Pizza, and beer, of course, then departing on out to the northwest for Chelatna Lake Lodge, encountering a minor little thunderstorm en route, kind of spaced out the 2 airplanes. Well, we went through that little bit of convective activity. Luckily, the thunderstorms here in Alaska, not quite as tall as the ones in Florida, not quite as intense, and then joined back up to make a pass over the foot of the Talkeetna Glacier, which I am most likely mispronouncing, before turning back there to the south to land on the southern edge of Chelatna Lake, which is home to probably the most beautiful lodge I've ever been to in my life, the Chelatna Lake Lodge.
Do you think we should go right to the cabin, or should we fly up Talkeetna Glacier and then come back around down the lake?
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
I'm before it if you are.
Okay.
Turn 10 degrees right. Vectors to Glacier.
Talkeetna. Sorry, was that you, Matt?
Yeah, yep, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are. Cool.
Breezy here. Let me actually go walk outside and get a direction for you. I think it's coming out of the northwest. And it looks like it's blowing probably a pretty consistent, like 10 knots out of the northwest.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, one thing that I always watch out for on this one, I'm sure you know this, but there's those trees on the runway. The second you just about get to the runway, behind those trees, you drop like a rock because you lose the wind.
Roger that. Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you.
All right, cool. See you in a minute.
Awesome. Talkeetna traffic flight of 2 at the base of the glacier, headed south for Skwentna at 3,000. I'm gonna overfly it just to check it out.
Sounds like fun. Cool. How long is it?
I don't know.
No. Probably long enough.
Long enough for 206?
No. Well, long enough for a 170 in Bearhawk.
Hey, Stephanie, just so you know, it's gotten definitely a little more gusty now. I would say it's probably, I don't know, 7 gusting, 15 maybe?
Yeah, gotcha. I can see it on the lake.
Yeah, have fun.
Thanks.
Oh. Pizza fell on the stick.
So, yeah, on the list of dumb things I've done in airplanes, this is right up towards the top of the list. I had a little load bar that kind of goes across the fuselage to hold everything back and secure that's sitting on the back seat, so that if in turbulence or if you pitch the nose down, you don't have things slide forward and start interfering with the stick, like what happened here as soon as I lowered the flaps, the nose pitched down a little bit, and basically a bunch of boxes and pizza fell right on top of the stick, kind of jamming it up a little bit. So, obvious thing, go around and try to keep the wings level, try to kind of make right traffic for that strip since stuff's out there making left traffic somewhere. And now I'm just trying to mostly fly the airplane well, kind of simultaneously restacking the back seat, trying to get that stick clear so I can come around and land in slightly light gusty winds that are a little swirly around some of those trees. But overall, it worked out. Got the back seat stacked back up, saved the pizza. The most important thing would have been tragic to lose the pizza right there on short vinyl, and came around for a relatively uneventful landing.
Where are you at, Seth?
Base to final. 40.
Quite the place.
Awesome.
Ladies first.
Woohoo! Almost killed by a pizza.
I think it goes without saying that Chelatna Lake Lodge is located in quite an amazing, incredibly spectacular place. Right here at the base of the Denali wilderness, a stone's throw away from Denali, assuming you can throw a stone 30 miles, but very, very close to Denali, right there, literally a stone's throw away from the edge of the national park, and just breathtaking views everywhere you look. Sunset this time of year up here is around midnight, and sunrise is about 4 a.m. This picture was taken around 1 a.m. of the two pups sitting here enjoying the view from our cabin, overlooking the beach and the airplanes, looking down Chelatna Lake towards the Alaska range. Sitting there on a couch and looking out the window, experiencing all of this firsthand is nothing short of absolutely breathtaking. I mean, it literally just takes your breath away and leaves you speechless with this sort of view here at 1 a.m. with that burning orange sky over those mountains with this deep glacier blue lake. There's really no way to describe it other than we are just really, really, really lucky. And with stomachs full of Moose's Tooth Pizza and beer, we got a great night's sleep. Waking up the next morning to head out to a nearby strip right at the foot of the Talkeetna Glacier, a nice little 700-foot long, soft, sandy strip there before heading on to Talkeetna for lunch and eventually Skwentna to camp out there for another night.
Clear. Clear.
With full stomachs and lots of gas still left in the tank, it was time for us to make our way on over to Talkeetna. Quick little 30-mile flight to get on over there to the village strip. Flying into Talkeetna, there are two options. Either a very long runway, that's about a half-mile walk from town, or a slightly shorter runway that's just about 100 yards from town. And of course, being the lazy pilots that we are, we opted for the more interesting approach and the shorter runway with the shorter walk. So we wandered around Talkeetna a little bit, walked some of the trails, walked around downtown. Always a fun town to visit. Home of Don Lee's Alaska Floats and Skis Flight School, known for their impromptu pizza parties and other water-based shenanigans that occur from time to time out there. Super fun place. And after getting soaked by a big thunderstorm and bit up by a few mosquitoes, it was time for us to hop back in the airplanes and head on over to Skwentna. Pretty uneventful flight on over to Skwentna, just beautiful as always, and a fun little approach into a very long, smooth, flat, nicely maintained gravel strip that of course has basically a tailwind landing with both directions, but a light tailwind, maybe 2 or 3 knots at most. Just kind of calm winds, swirly winds as always coming in, but gave us a chance for a little bit of STOL practice coming in here, just trying to hold it off, get used to flying that airplane slow because unfortunately I don't have as much practice as I should flying this thing slow, especially with the upcoming STOL competition the very next day that either way, despite doing good or not so good, will be fun either way. And touching down just over 40 miles an hour. This was really the first fly-in of the Alaska fly-in season. Typically, fly-ins up here start around early May, but everything had been postponed by about a month and many fly-ins were canceled due to COVID-19. So this was really the first one of the season. Everyone was super excited to get out there, camp for the night, just have a good time. And even this little guy, although he was rather upset that the door is on the right side instead of the left side, he was pretty adamant and persistent that the door should be on the left side of the airplane. He eventually figured it out and came over to the right side of the airplane to say hi. But overall, awesome time. So good to be out, eating camping food, sitting around the fire, having some barbecue, and setting up our tent and little campsite there for the night. Just fun to be back outside. And of course, took a few minutes to drain a little bit of fuel out of the Bearhawk to try to make it slightly more competitive for the next day. The sun set right around midnight and the moon came out. Just an amazing view. And of course, Jeff Oliver could not pass up the opportunity at about 1:30 in the morning. He was the only sober pilot among us and volunteered to take them all out for a few little passes right by that strawberry moon. And after we finished up with all that fun, it was time to get some rest for the STOL competition the next day.
Yeah, the last one is about to roll right now.
Okay, I'll extend the upwind. Yeah, this is Whiskey Kilo. I must have jumped in front of him. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Okay, Bravo Tango, the last one is in the air now, and you can go ahead and start your crosswind. I'll have it turn early crosswind.
Bravo Tango turning crosswind. 6 Bravo Papa, I got 132 for your distance.
It was a great turnout for the fly-in, and this was actually the very first time competing with the Bearhawk Patrol, really doing any kind of STOL competition, actually, rather than just taking pictures, actually getting out there to go have some fun. And spoiler alert, the first landing's not going to go so well here, misjudged that just by a little bit. But realistically, we're just out here having fun anyways. Obviously, we are in the bush experimental category, along with some crazy tricked out cubs with slats and double slotted Fowler flaps and a bunch of other awesome mods that maybe we will play with on the Bearhawk here. But in the meantime, this is an airplane that stalls at about 45 miles an hour and is cruising up in the 130, 140 range. So yeah, it's not necessarily going to be super competitive here in this run anyways. And considering that these guys are quite frankly just better than me, and also have airplanes that fly super crazy slow, but you know, either way, still a ton of fun to get out there and see what it can do.
130, Tom, what'd you get?
109er. Close, bro.
And all racers still good on fuel. Bravo Tango's good.
Whiskey Tango's good.
16 good. Bob X-ray's got full tanks. Bravo Bob's good. Whiskey Kilo's good.
Bravo Papa, 96 feet, yeah, 96.
17 uniform, I got one behind me. Skywagon 07 Bravo, turning left base, 28, correction, wind 0.
And 5-4 Alpha, do you see him out there?
Yeah, 5-4 Alpha, we're turning crosswind now.
And then 17 uniform, you're the blue and white.
6 Papa Bravo, 239 to get 239.
After one pretty good takeoff and one pretty embarrassing landing, it was time to load the airplane back up with all of our camping gear, swat away at thousands of mosquitoes, try to kill as many as we could before getting back into the air, heading down to Anchorage first to get some groceries, and then forgetting about that embarrassing landing on the way back down to Seldovia, because when you have a view like this on your flight home, well, nothing else really seems to matter. Now, of course, the amazing flying, the beautiful places, and the awesome people we hung out with around the campfire at Skwentna would have made this an incredible weekend all on its own. But the weekend wasn't over yet. We got back down into Seldovia, got some rest, and woke up early the next day to catch that super low tide, taking advantage of that low tide, to land out on the mudflats by Pauley Creek, just across the inlet, just right by Chiswick Island there, taking advantage of this cycle that happens about once a month up here, where the tides are low enough to land basically on the floor of the bay, floor of the ocean, land on a sandbar there and dig up some huge razor clams, getting out of there before the tide comes back up and swallows your runway, and then spending the rest of the day cleaning the clams and eating fresh fried clams for dinner. Some really, really good eating. That was how we spent those 3 days, and if your weekend doesn't look quite as exciting as ours, well then you need to really make an effort to get up here to Alaska this summer if you're not already here. For all of our friends down there in the lower 48, come to Alaska, experience this kind of flying, rent an airplane in Anchorage, come down to Seldovia and visit us. We'll take you up on the 170 for some instruction on the gravel bars and beaches. There is nothing more fun than getting to share this incredible place with all of you, and it's exciting that we're able to go around spending the summer flying around up here and sharing these places through our videos. I can't think of anything else I'd rather spend 3 days doing, but what I can say is, I'm really looking forward to next weekend.